The fourth and final chapter of Digimon Seekers just released on Digimon.net with Chapter 4 Part 1, and judging by the trailer that we got, it seems to include a lot of things that we've been looking at or looking forward to, and that have been hinted at from fairly early on in the series. So let's look at what we know now and what we can assume will be happening in this Chapter 4, judging by what we saw in the live-action trailer for Chapter 4, as well as what we've seen so far with Chapter 4 Part 1. So first of all, the interesting thing is that, well, I guess interesting is probably the wrong word, but I guess a thing is that there's no new BE memory that has been announced at the start of Chapter 4. With previous chapters with their Part 1s, we've had news of an upcoming BE memory. We've had the Leon one, which was announced at the start of Chapter 3, and of course, the start of Chapter 2 had the Digipolice and Crackers BEM cards set. So we don't actually know about any new upcoming BE memories, the latest one still being the Leon one, which, as of recording this, hasn't come out. That's due to release early in 2024, and that's the one that was announced at the start of Chapter 3. So there's no new BE memory that's been announced as of Chapter 4 Part 1. Whether that means that we're not going to be getting any more Digimon Seekers BE memories, or if they're just waiting and holding off until later on in Chapter 4. There could even be one that's announced at the end of Chapter 4 rather than the start of it, for some reason being maybe there's a big spoiler. Mind you, previous BE memories haven't really been afraid to show upcoming Digimon that are miles away from actually debuting, so that would be a little bit strange, but it is of course a possibility. There were also other linker bands that we did see, or I recall us seeing fairly early on in Digimon Seekers, so I'm not sure if those are still coming, or if they were just being shown off as sort of like a promotional material in the same way that the outfits for the characters in Digimon Seekers were also shown off. So it could just be we just have the linker band for AG, and that's the only linker band that we're actually going to get. We're not going to get Leons or what have you, which is kind of a shame. So that's something I noticed, that we're not getting a new BE memory. I was kind of surprised that we don't get a Professor Usenji themed one that has the Betamon on it, the Modoki Betamon, or the Palmon and Tentomon from the Project Tartarus team, and maybe even just regular old Agumon as well thrown in to be the fourth. That surprised me that we didn't get that, so I'm wondering if it's the end of the Vital Bracelet BE's lifespan. Of course, we know that Bandai only like to keep their things around for about a year, being Tamagotchis, and Digimon seem to only have like a lifespan of 1 year of support. We saw similar with the Tamagotchi Smart, which had the Tamagotchi Smart cards, with the BE only being out since November last year, and now being December, that means that it has been around for a year. And of course I'm not including the Vital Bracelet series and the Digivice V as part of that year, because I'm counting them as their own separate things, which even had even shorter lifespans, with the original Vital Bracelet lasting from March till October, when it was replaced by the Digivice V in October, and then of course the BE had about a year and a month after the release of the Digivice V. So you can see why I think that we might be nearing the end of the lifespan for the BE, if we're not already there. They could, of course, also release a BE2, but there's been no news about that, and usually they like to put in some form of news. So it could just be the end of the Vital Bracelet BE, with Digimon Seekers being the kind of final send-off for the Vital Bracelet series, which, mind you, we've had a pretty good run with the Vital Bracelet being a Digivice for Ghost Game, for Dreamers, and now for Seekers. So it did kind of live a long life in terms of a Digivice release, but it is still sad if this is the final send-off for the Vital Bracelet BE. In terms of what we're going to be seeing in Chapter 4, judging by what we've seen in the trailer, and of course Chapter 4 Part 1, we got a look at some evolutions for Lugumon, including the Jogress between Kazuchimon and Lugumon's Megaform. That is just Lugumon's Megaform holding an electric sword in the mouth. It's pretty cool. We did, of course, learn about this from various bugs and data mining from the Lugomon BE memory that released when Digimon Seekers started, and you can't really get it unless it's through a bug, or I believe some people were able to get it on their BE from data mining. I can't quite recall, but you will finally be able to get it, presumably when the Leon BE memory comes out, which is, early 2024. So you can't at the moment, but presumably by then we would have seen that Digimon, and then we'll get it on the BE memory, which may be the last one. Hopefully not, though. So that is coming in Chapter 4. We also see Galacticmon, which was on the Lugomon BE memory, so nice to see that. I'm always happy to see Digimon that haven't really had much love from the franchise, and this was the big bad in my favourite Digimon game, with an asterisk, because it could just be nostalgia goggles there, and that is Digimon World 2003, which I absolutely loved as a kid, put hundreds of hours into it, never finished it because it was a very grindy game, probably has aged terribly, but in my memory, it is my very favourite Digimon game, so it's nice to see Digimon pop up from Digimon World 2003 that haven't really been seen that much, particularly recently. Very, very grateful that we have Galacticmon showing up in some things, and I'm wondering if we'll get the other forms, as in Bearmon as well, but maybe it's just Galacticmon, but who knows? It could just be the whole family line. That'd be pretty exciting, so great to see that. And then, of course, we do have Leon coming back in some capacity. He looked like he was being alive, so that is exciting, that they're not just going to be saying that he's fused or anything. And I'm really hoping it's not just the power of friendship. I hope they're using the medicine, the vaccine that Tartarus showed in Chapter 3. I'm hoping that that's it. I hope it's not just the power of friendship. That I hate the power of friendship, and Digimon loves the power of friendship, so I'm very still worried about that. But we don't have any look of Saya. We do see Black Agumon in the trailer, however, so we could have Saya back, but Black Agumon looked kind of unconscious and not in a great way. So it could just be a snapshot, or it could just be a dead Black Agumon, or he could just be having a nap, I don't know. But in any case, that's all that we have from the trailer. And then, of course, Chapter 4 Part 1 has all the characters kind of battling it out and fighting for the entire chapter, chapter part rather. So that's essentially what happened in Chapter 4 Part 1. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of Digimon Seekers. I've really been enjoying it. It is kind of a shame this be ending soon. We did know from the release that it would last about a year, and Chapter 4 will likely finish around April, since every other chapter has survived for about 4 months or so. Survived? That's the wrong word there. Lasted? There we are, that's a better one. So I'm expecting it to sort of go until then. They did say that Chapter 4 was the last one. I'm wondering if we'll get a final live-action trailer thing at the very end of Digimon Seekers. They have been kind of referred to as these trailers, so it'd be weird to have a trailer at the end of something, but I would just like to see another live-action trailer. I've been really enjoying watching them. They've been a pretty cool highlight of each chapter, getting to watch Digimon in live action, which is not something that there have been many live action Digimon things. We've had like the stage play, and I think that's about it in terms of live action releases. So I am looking forward to seeing how Digimon Seekers finished. I really, really have been enjoying it. It's felt pretty perfect to me, except for obviously the translation hiccups in Chapter 1. But of course, all of this could age terribly. It could have a terrible ending. I'm often not too happy with the endings of Digimon things. I believe I mentioned this in my Chapter 3 review video, that I'm hoping that they finish it and they don't leave it open-ended, because a lot of Digimon releases tend to end open-ended, and I'm not a fan of that. I want them to actually finish something and not just leave it open-ended for the hopes of a sequel. I just kind of like when Digimon things are kind of released and they're done. But Digimon doesn't seem to often do that. They want to leave it open just in case they want to continue on with more stories, and then they just end up doing another adventure film or something. I don't know. In any case, those are my thoughts about the first part of Chapter 4. It'll be exciting to see how the rest of it goes. very excited to see how they're going to bring Leon back. If it's just going to be they're just going to find Pulsemon and stab him with a needle, or if there's going to be something further into that. I'm wondering how the Royal Knights will come into play, or if they were just kind of there and they're just somewhere else, like they were in Tri, and they just vanish once they're not being relevant anymore. But yeah, so very much looking forward to the rest of this chapter. Let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, etc., in the comment section below. Like this video for, I don't know, I really hope that Bandai aren't killing the Vital Bracelet. I've been a big fan of it, but if they do release a Vital Bracelet 2, I just really hope they fix the button issue, which has been a huge issue for the release. But in any case, yes, like my video for Bandai continuing with something, I guess. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, and of course, I'll see you next video. Bye!